don't know how many of you know Omid Kordestani. I kind of, as a close friend of his, I believe a lot of the Google success is due to his model of the business model he created at Google, and then more importantly, his execution. He's incredibly soft-spoken. I have had the pleasure of being his friend for about 20 plus years, and I wish I followed his path. He kind of went to 3DO, Go, then Netscape, and then he said, you know, I have to hit out of the park in one of these ones, and then he joined Google, I think when they were 10 people. So I kind of have asked him to talk about the spirit of entrepreneurship, the culture he helped to build at Google, and why this place we live in, it's so special. So please let's welcome Omid Kordestani.
Thank you very much for the kind introduction, dear Saeed. He's a close friend of mine, and always a pleasure to join him in his ventures. I tried to get a sense of the audience here, but just for me to have a visual sense. So how many people here are actually entrepreneurs? All right, the majority. That's a great sign, and I see a lot of actually familiar faces from the venture community and friends from the Valley here. So would like to, as Saeed said, share a little bit about the Google journey, I believe is what the case study was, and also just my own insights over the years that I've been here in California. I'm actually in London now for a year, given how global the nature of our business is, and wanted to be closer to the international business. So first and foremost, I want to share a little bit of history. So when I actually met Larry and Sergey, I met him for lunch at one of the restaurants in downtown Palo Alto, and at the time I was introduced to them by an angel. It was Ram Shriram, who was my previous boss at Netscape, and the initial meeting was really, by then Netscape had been acquired by AOL, and the meeting was under the guises of me looking at them as a technology provider, perhaps, to AOL. And very quickly, we just hit it off, and I saw this incredible level of passion for innovation in their eyes. And I was this big-time corporate executive at AOL at that time, and decided that I was done with that. I wanted to go back to a much simpler setting and join Larry and Sergey. So the funny thing that happened next was they invited me for an official interview around the ping pong table at the headquarters of Google at the time. And it turns out the headquarters was actually Saeed's old office, an old building. So he hadn't quite started plug-and-play tech centers yet, but it turned out that Larry and Sergey, unbeknownst to any of us at the time, had leased the building from Saeed. And they had just moved out of a garage once they had received their initial angel check of $100,000 from Andy Bechtolsheim, and had moved to outside the university so that they could stop using the facilities at Stanford and have a real shot at the business, and had got their first office space. Now, kind of mixing that with my own background here, I joined a number of startups because I love innovation, I love technology, and love working with small teams and creating products, and a number of them failed. And I think when a lot of people ask me, well, what is the basic Google magic and what happened at Google, I'm glad to share a few of those with you today. But I also would like to highlight that a lot of things obviously have to go right for companies. I mean, companies like Google or Cisco, Microsoft, Yahoo, these companies happen once in a decade. But there are many other success stories that happen with the same basic elements of success. And for us, those basic elements of success really started with an incredible focus on and passion for real innovation and real technology. So in everything that we do, the questions about a business model or questions about Google's strategic direction always start with a focus on engineering and innovation and products. And I'm head of sales and business development, but the reason Larry and Sergey hired me and got attracted to me was not, I mean, my background was very relevant to them, but if I didn't have a technical degree or an engineering background, I wouldn't have made the cut originally. So this focus that Google has to this day, today we're a little bit busy this week doing our 2009 planning cycle. It literally starts with a product discussion first and technology discussion first, without any talks about P&Ls or business models initially. Now, at the same time that I say that, the first person they hired after the first 11 engineers was a business person, and that was me. So I don't want to underestimate, obviously, the importance of the business mindset here. But the two of them have to go hand in hand. And in technology companies, I believe the technology and product innovation should be the lead. My focus, again, from day one was to really find a business model for Google. And at the time, a lot of people had declared that search engines were kind of a done business. They were already established. A number of them were out there. And there were two models that existed at the time. One was being a back-end engine, like what Ink2Me was doing and a number of other companies were doing. And then there were a number of portal sites and a couple of search engine destinations. And again, the clarity that Google brought by focusing on a very, very clean service that's all about relevancy and all about helping the user find the ultimate answer they wanted, to this day is holding for us. And that's the foundation of Google was exploration of information and access to information across various devices. And to this day, that's our mission. And that kind of clarity is something I believe is extremely critical to all of you as entrepreneurs, is being really focused on that mission, being very technology focused, and then when you marry that with the business function, making sure that balance of technology and business is really maintained throughout your growth. I would like to say, echo what Ron also said here, is that soon after I joined, we were on the big trajectory of the web companies. So what initially helped us a bit was the ability to have actually access to great venture capitalists in the Valley and great angels. Very quickly, we surrounded ourselves with the great advice, the kind of advice you find in this room, by being connected with the university advisors that Larry and Sergey had, by angels like Ram Shriram and Andy Bechtelstein, and a number of as I mentioned, advisors in the university. We surrounded by ourselves with great advice on the corporate front by hooking up with some of the best law firms in the Valley here, and that's one of the incredible advantages you have in Silicon Valley, is just access to this incredible set of professionals, be it legal or financial advice or funding advice, and HR advice, frankly, all the kinds of resources you need to grow these companies. And it really determined what is going to be a good match for us in terms of the venture companies we were talking to. And again, lots of companies we talked to. Some of them didn't end up being our funders, but to this day are good friends of ours and advisors. And got the funding that we needed, and enough funding for us to really operate our company. I'll talk about the business side of this and the business model in a second, but before I do that, I do want to highlight that very quickly after this rise happened and we got our funding, we did hit the bursting of the bubble in the Valley. And it reminds me of some of the doom and gloom that we're experiencing today in the financial crisis. And I think as entrepreneurs and as small companies, this is, again, a very hopeful message that I can send to all of you, is that we found that period, and I personally found that period to be an excellent period to have a small company and grow a company. A, because you had talent to incredible resources you could hire. I mean, some of the great companies in the Valley today are laying off employees, unfortunately, because of the tough times that they're facing. So access to talent is wonderful in these times. Sometimes the distractions that growth brings is too much and gets companies off track from their product innovation or even business innovation. Companies that go public too early or have the pressure of going public too early. I believe actually Netscape suffered from that. It became a big successful company very quickly and public very quickly. And I think for Google, we had the advantage of that pressure being gone once actually the bubble burst. There was not a lot of interest actually in a lot of web companies. So we were very busy quietly executing away, hiring great talent, being able to, in fact, afford good real estate because months earlier, Larry and I actually went to talk to some of the big real estate holders in the Valley here, and the advice we got from one of the